Assalamu alaikum everyone, welcome back to Umi Labs. In the previous lab we covered basic router configuration. Today we'll build on that foundation by configuring static routing between two Cisco routers. So by the end of this lab, our two PCs located on different networks will be able to communicate successfully. So if you're ready, let's get started. So here is our lab topology. We have two Cisco routers, R1 and R2, connected together. Each router has a PC connected to its gigabit Ethernet 0/0 interface. PC1 is on 192.168.1 network and PC2 is on 192.168.2 network. And the link between the two routers use 10.0.12.0 network /30. So our goal is to configure static routes so that the two PCs can communicate with each other. Before we begin the configuration, let's check the current status of the router interfaces using the show IP interface brief command. As you can see, the interfaces don't have IP addresses assigned yet, and they are currently administratively down. So we'll enter into interface configuration mode and we'll assign the IP addresses shown in the topology. Next, we'll give the interface a brief description. Then we'll bring the interface up using the command no shut. Then we'll verify what we have done using show IP interface brief. As you can see now, the interface is configured with the IP address and the status and the protocol are both up. We'll also give an IP address to interface gig 0/1. I've noticed the subnet mask on R2 was incorrect, so I'll update it to the correct /30 subnet mask. Next, I'll configure both PCs using the graphical user interface. I'll change the default host name to PC1. Then I'll configure a username and password for the local user. After that, I'll assign an IP address to the ETH0 interface. Then I'll bring the interface up. Also, I'll configure the default gateway. I'll repeat the same process on PC2. Next, I'll open the console on PC1 and sign in using the username and password I configured earlier. Then I'll switch to the root user using the command sudo-i. Then I'll verify the IP address using ifconfig. I'll also confirm the default gateway using the IP route command. I'll repeat the same process on PC2. Now let's test connectivity from PC1 to R1 and then from R1 to R2 to ensure the local links are working correctly before configuring static routes. The ping failed because R1 only knows about its directly connected networks, and since it doesn't have a route to 192.168.2.0/24 network behind R2, it drops the packet. So to enable communication between the two LANs, we need to configure static routes on both routers. To configure a static route, we use the IP route command followed by the destination network, then the subnet mask, and the next hop IP address. On R1, we want to reach the 192.168.2.0/24 network, so we'll configure a static route pointing to R2's IP address, which is 10.0.12.2. Now let's check the routing table once again, and as you can see, the static route has been added successfully. It's identified by the letter S. R1 now knows how to reach the 192.168.2.0/24 network through the next hop IP address of 10.0.12.2. This tells R1 that whenever it receives traffic destined for 192.168.2.0 network, it should forward that traffic to R2. For the moment of truth, let's see if PC1 can communicate with PC2 again. And the ping is successful, confirming that our static route configuration is working as expected. Let's perform one final verification from PC2, and as you can see, the ping is successful. Next, we'll run a traceroute to PC1. Notice that the traffic first reached R2, then R1 before arriving at PC1. So this confirms that the packets are following the expected path through our network and that the static routes are working correctly. If you've reached until here, thanks for watching. Assalamu alaikum.